Level 1. The candidate. The water is 42 degrees. You've been in it for 11 minutes. Your hands stopped working around minute 6. The instructor is not yelling. He doesn't need to. He's just standing there on the bank, dry, watching you with the same expression a surgeon has when he's waiting for the anesthetic to kick in. You have no rank. You have no unit. You have no identity here. You have a number stenciled on your helmet and a pair of boots that are already destroyed. This is selection, and selection doesn't care about you. The other candidates around you are dropping, one every few hours, sometimes one every few minutes. They walk to the instructor's table, they put their helmet down, and they disappear. Nobody talks about them. Nobody looks. The unwritten rule arrives without explanation. The moment someone quits, they stop existing. You are cold, you are sleep-deprived, and you are carrying 60 pounds of wet gear through a mountain range that doesn't appear on civilian maps. Your legs are not sore. They're past sore. They've entered a new country where pain is just the weather. What keeps you moving isn't courage, not yet. It's the simple refusal to be the one who puts the helmet down. Every task they give you is designed to find your edge and push you past it. Log carries in the dark, land navigation with a compass and no GPS, interrogation resistance training where they put a bag over your head and scream things into your ears for 4 hours. You don't know what day it is. You haven't known for a while. Your civilian life, your apartment, your car, your personality, all of it has become a photograph you can barely remember taking. You make it. Not because you're the fastest or the strongest, because when the bottom fell out, you had something in you that didn't move. They give you a tab, a beret, a handshake from a man who speaks 8 words to you and means all of them. You don't know yet what you've walked into. Level 2. The new guy. The team already exists. You are not part of it yet. You've passed selection, you've completed the 18-month qualification course, and you've been assigned to an operational detachment. Everyone on it has 3 to 8 years of experience in this world. You have 0 days. Your team sergeant calls you the new guy. So does everyone else. For a long time, that's your name. You don't talk in briefings unless asked. You carry the heaviest load on every movement. You volunteer for every task nobody wants. Guard rotation at 0300, comm setup in the rain, resupply runs to forward positions that nobody's calling safe. This is not hazing. This is how trust is built in a profession where trust is load-bearing. You watch the senior operators and you reverse engineer them. The way the team leader scans a room, the way the medic manages pain without sentiment, the way the communications sergeant reads a situation from radio traffic alone. These men have compressed years of experience into reflexes, and your job right now is to become a sponge. You make mistakes, small ones, a clearance angle that's a few degrees off, a signal that goes out 2 seconds late. Nobody screams. The team sergeant takes you aside, explains it once in a flat, quiet voice, and expects it never to happen again. That's the culture. Correction without drama. Accountability without theater. After your first deployment, something has shifted. You can feel it in your body, a recalibration. Your civilian friends seem like they're living underwater. Their problems are real to them. You just can't locate where to put yourself in their conversations anymore. You don't say that to anyone. The unit doesn't have a word for it. You file it somewhere internal and move on.
Level 3. The operator. 2 deployments in, and you've stopped being the new guy. You've been in the stack when the door came open. You've held a position through a night that didn't go the way the intelligence said it would. You've made calls under conditions that don't allow for hesitation, and you've lived with the results. You are competent now. Quietly, functionally, completely competent. The team trusts you, not because you've proven yourself once, but because you've proven yourself repeatedly, without variance, in places that tested the seams of your training. Trust in this world isn't declared, it accumulates. And one day, you realize you have it because someone passes you information they wouldn't have passed you 6 months ago. You've also started to understand the invisible architecture of the unit. Who carries the real weight of a decision versus who holds the official authority? How problems get solved before they reach the chain of command? Which relationships across units are load-bearing and which are diplomatic. None of this was in any manual. You're also 31 years old, and your right knee makes a sound it didn't used to make. You have a short conversation with yourself about what this job costs the body and table it immediately. There is no version of you that does anything else. Back home, when you're home, there's a distance you can't close. Not from your family, not from anyone. It's not bitterness. It's more like you've been calibrated for a frequency that doesn't exist in civilian life, and everything sounds slightly off. You stop trying to explain what the work is like. It doesn't translate, and the attempt always ends up feeling like either bragging or complaint, neither of which is accurate. You carry it alone. Most of them do. Level 4, the Team Sergeant. The team is yours now. Not officially, the officer is the team leader on paper, but every operator on this detachment knows where the gravity comes from. You have 11 years in. You've run combat rotations on 3 continents. When you speak in a briefing, the room goes still in a way it doesn't for rank alone. You are responsible for everything that happens on this team, every skill level, every decision in the field, every man's readiness, physical and psychological. You don't just manage tasks, you manage human beings in conditions designed to break them. And that means you see things you didn't see as an operator. You watch a team member's performance shift after a rotation that hit differently than the ones before. You adjust his role before he knows why. You have a conversation that never uses the word struggle. He thinks it's about mission optimization. It's about keeping him intact. You also handle things that never get written down. A situation that technically violates a rule of engagement, but was the only decision that brought everyone home. An internal conflict between 2 operators that, if it reaches the command level, ends 2 careers. You resolve it in a parking lot at 2100 on a Tuesday. No report filed, no reprimand issued. Problem solved. This is the level where you learn that leadership isn't authority, authority is the credential. Leadership is what you do before anyone's watching. The weight is real. You feel it in a different place than physical exhaustion. It sits somewhere behind the sternum and doesn't shift after sleep. You wouldn't trade it.
Level 5, the Company Sergeant Major. You've watched 43 men come through this battalion. You remember each of them by the specific way they moved under pressure, not by their names first. You don't go on every mission now. You build the conditions for missions to succeed before they're launched. Training cycles, equipment readiness, the human architecture of teams, who belongs with who, which team sergeant needs support, which officer is not yet what the men need him to be. You've had 4 knee surgeries. You run slower than you used to. You do not discuss this. At this level, you are managing the future of men who don't know their futures are being managed. You're deciding which operators get advanced schools, which team sergeants get evaluated for upward movement, which men have quietly reached their ceiling and need to be transitioned out with their dignity intact. That last part is the hardest. You've had to tell a man with 9 combat deployments in a body held together by surgical hardware that the unit needs him to move on. He looked at you and said nothing for a long time. You said nothing back. Sometimes the silence is the whole conversation. You also brief general officers now. You stand in rooms full of stars and speak plainly and directly, and you've learned that the rank in the room doesn't change what's true. That took 2 years to fully internalize. Your marriage has survived, which statistically it shouldn't have. You've made a deliberate, ongoing effort. You've cleared time that wasn't really clear. You've been present in a way that required work. It's the hardest mission you've ever run, and it has no end state. Level 6, the Battalion Commander. You have command. Not authority, command. There's a difference that can't be taught. It has to be earned, and then suddenly recognized the moment it exists. 300 men, 5 operational detachments, a budget that doesn't appear in public documents, a portfolio of relationships with foreign services, theater commands, and government entities you're not going to say in any room with a window. Decisions happen fast here.
The intelligence window on a target is sometimes 40 minutes. You're weighing risk to your men, political exposure to the government, rules of engagement, relationships with allied forces, and second-order consequences that won't surface for months, and you're doing it while someone is on the radio waiting. You've become comfortable with incomplete information. The men see you differently than you see yourself. You've heard what they say. You are either deeply respected or quietly feared, and there's no clean line between those two things at this level. You've made peace with it. You've also made decisions that ended in memorial services. You've stood in dress uniform and given a folded flag to a family and found the words because there were no other options. You drove home afterward and sat in your car in the driveway for 25 minutes before going inside. You never talk about those nights. Power at this level is a resource and a burden simultaneously. It allows you to move things, resources, people, missions, in ways that can matter, but it also means the gap between you and the men has grown, and no amount of intentional informality closes it completely. They don't need you to be their peer anymore. They need you to be their commander. You've accepted what that costs.